What's good, you guys? This is your boy, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. As y'all can already see, the boy is live, and I got something special brewing for you guys, okay? So I'm going to be doing a daily sports talk show for you guys. Now, I haven't quite settled in on the time frame yet. I haven't really locked that in per se. My goal is to start the show at 1 p.m. That's my ultimate goal. Give you guys an hour-long show. And depending on how this thing goes, the show will most definitely grow. Maybe it'll jump 2 hours, maybe it'll jump hour and a half, then jump to 2 hours, you know what I mean? So really appreciate you guys for locking in. Really appreciate the eyes and ears that are here giving me your utmost attention. And I'm so grateful. But you know, again, Chalk It Up Sports Daily is going to be coming to you guys every single day, Monday through Friday. Again, I'm still trying to figure out the timeline, though. You know what I mean? I want to have it at 1 p.m. That's my goal. But again, as long as you guys lock in, I'll be super grateful for that. So there's so much to discuss in the sports world right now, man. Deshaun Watson traded to the Browns. Howie Roseman's passiveness in free agency when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts' progression as a quarterback. Matt Ryan was just traded to the Colts. So many things going on in the NFL world. Then in the NBA world, the Philadelphia 76ers, in my humble opinion, are just above water with the way they've been playing. The NBA is getting super competitive these final 15 games left in the season, 15 to 18 games, I believe. The playoff race is in full effect. The play-in is going to be in full effect. There's so much going on in the sport, in the NBA and in the NFL sports world. But we're gonna take it step by step. And like I said, I appreciate you guys for locking in. I'm going to be giving you guys a daily sports talk show. Most likely expect the talk show every day, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. So that's the goal. I had to start a little bit late today, but going forward, my goal is to start the new daily talk show at 1 p.m. So if you guys lock in with me, we can continue to get this thing going. The show's gonna be going on for an hour. So let's hop right into the content. So Deshaun Watson. Now, a lot of you guys gave me hell. I want to say about a week or so ago when I dropped that video indicating that the Eagles necessarily shouldn't bet on Jalen Hurts, right? I pretty much asked you guys what's the bigger gamble, Jalen Hurts' progression or Deshaun Watson, and a lot of you guys gave me hell for that, and understandably so. We're Eagles fans, and Jalen Hurts is a player for the Eagles, and we need to support our guys while they're here. Totally understand why y'all gave me hell, but nonetheless, let's not go backwards. Deshaun Watson is with the Cleveland Browns. And that is such an interesting situation because I didn't expect the Cleveland Browns to actually land Deshaun Watson because the word was they were completely out. That was the rumor that they were completely out on this Deshaun Watson race. And I thought he was going to end up in Atlanta. I thought he was going to potentially end up in Carolina. That was my ultimate thought process. But when you think about what the Texans gave up to get Deshaun Watson, if you ask me, they got fleeced. Let's just call it what it is. The Texans literally got fleeced for Deshaun Watson. They didn't get nowhere near in return as the Seahawks did for Russell Wilson. I can't remember the exact details of the Russell Wilson trade. But I know for a fact they got more because they got players, they got picks. It was a plethora of things going on. But the Texans sent, well, let me put it this way. The Texans obviously sent Deshaun Watson to the Browns. The Browns sent over 3 first-round picks, which obviously stretches over for the next 3 years, a 2023 third-round pick, a 2024 fourth-round pick, and a 2024 fifth-round pick. In my humble opinion, you could have got way more for that guy. But at the same time, Deshaun Watson was kind of playing hardball when it came to his no trade clause. And teams knew that they had to get rid of Deshaun Watson. So the Browns didn't necessarily have the leverage that I anticipated. Oh, I'm sorry, the Texans didn't necessarily have the leverage that I anticipated. The way I saw it, the way I digested the information was the Texans paid this man all last season while he was fighting his charges. They did everything in their power to make him look good in the media once that information came out for the most part. And at the very least, I thought they had a little bit more leverage over him in terms of the fact that, look, at the end of the day, we can suspend you for not showing up. We paid you all last season. The least you could do is allow us to get the best deal. And in my humble opinion, the Browns, or the Texans rather, didn't get the best deal for Deshaun Watson. That's just my humble opinion. They could have got way more from Philadelphia. They instead of getting 3 first-round picks stretched over 3 years, they could have got 3 first-round picks this year to help them today. But as it all came out to be, the Houston Texans didn't have as much leverage as we thought. So Deshaun Watson is a Cleveland Brown. Now, let's move the conversation forward. The Cleveland Browns, on top of trading for Deshaun Watson, they gave him a new 5-year, $230 million contract. Remind you, he still is fighting 22 civil suits. He beat the criminal charges, but he's still fighting 22 civil suits for sexual assault. And remind you, he actually just signed a new deal with the Houston Texans not too long ago. So it begs the question, why give this man more money? He's making about 70 to 80 million more dollars than he would have been. And on top of that, the contract is fully guaranteed. The NFL is such a strange place. I'm not condoning what Deshaun Watson did. I'm not excusing what he did either. But the NFL rewards a man for being caught up in 22 sexual assault cases. Now, look, I'm not here to play judge, juror, or executioner. I'm not here to play crime fighter. I'm not the morality police. That's not who I am. But if you got 22 things pending against you, something had to go wrong in these interactions you had with these 22 different women. Something went wrong. Everybody can't be lying. But regardless, you beat the criminal charges. Congratulations. I hate to see a brother go down. But 22 civil suits, I don't understand the need for a new contract, but let's think about that. Remember, the Cleveland Browns were out originally. So they said, okay, how are we going to get this guy to come here? How can we get him to waive his no trade clause? Because in my humble opinion, the Browns, they got a slightly better roster, but they didn't make the playoffs last year. The Eagles did, right? The Eagles technically have a better situation, technically, because they made the playoffs. Yet they're in a lesser division, but they made the playoffs. And the NFC has the path of least resistance compared to the AFC. The AFC is loaded. But like I said, why did Deshaun Watson waive his no trade clause for the Browns? Why give him a new contract worth $230 million, fully guaranteed? Makes you wonder. Money talks. BS walks. That is why Deshaun Watson waived his no trade clause, because they offered that man the largest contract in NFL history, a $230 million contract, fully guaranteed. I don't care where you sending me. I don't care if you're sending me to Canada. If that's where the money at, that's where the money at. So that's why he went. That's why he waived his no trade clause for the Browns. That's exactly why. Not because they have a better situation, but because money talking, BS walk. He could break his leg tomorrow, God forbid, and he will get that dough. It don't matter what happens. It don't matter where he get traded. That money gonna follow him wherever he go. So I give credit to Deshaun Watson and his team for securing the bag. I can't hate on it. $230 million guaranteed. Hey, more power to your partner. I ain't mad at it at all. Not one bit. Not one bit. Like $230 million. What would you guys do? Somebody waving $230 million in your face. You'll play anywhere, wouldn't you? Shoot, like I said, I'll play in Mexico. What you need me to do? Okay. I learned Spanish so fast. You need me to go play in Canada? $230 million guaranteed? Okay. I'll start speaking French. Oui, oui. So I can't get mad at Deshaun Watson for choosing the Cleveland Browns. But who I can get mad at, I can get mad at Howie Roseman for being so passive in free agency and in the offseason thus far. It begs the question, what did Howie Roseman offer if he made an offer? Was Howie Roseman trying to play the morality police? Huh? Did Howie Roseman take it upon himself to say, you know what? We can't afford to have this PR nightmare. The Browns didn't care. The Browns didn't care about the PR nightmare. The Browns didn't give a damn about the check. The Browns said, look, we are in the AFC North. We got to deal with the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. We got to deal with Joe Burrow and the Bengals. We got to deal with the Steelers, who are always going to play you tough. We got to call it like it is. The Browns need to compete in their division. Think about the AFC West. You got Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert over there, Russell Wilson, Derek Carr, Devontae Adams, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. You know what I'm saying? So much talent over there. So much. Tyreek Hill. You know? Juju Smith-Schuster, Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson, Joey Bosa. You know what I'm saying? Like, so much talent over there. So many pass rushers. So many. So how can you Chandler Jones, Max Crosby? It's an arms race in the AFC. So I can't get mad at the Browns for wanting to be a part of that. Because they knew if they didn't get a quarterback, because Baker wasn't the guy, they would be ass out. I got to respect the game. So where's Baker going to go? Who knows? He penned his farewell letter to the city. Okay. Man, oh man. But, you know, Howie Roseman, he's going to take his chances the way he's been taking his chances. And he hasn't really been taking many chances this offseason. We brought in Hassan Reddick. I like that move. 3-year deal. The contract is not hard to carry at all. I like what Hassan Reddick brings to the table. This ain't about Hassan Reddick. This is about Howie Roseman being passive in free agency. He allows so many wide receivers to slip out of his fingertips. I will give him credit, though. He did try to get Calvin Ridley. But that was what it was. It is what it is. But Howie Roseman, you haven't made any aggressive moves in free agency thus far. You haven't made any moves, any sort of trades. Now, let's talk about the things he has done, right? He resigned safety Anthony Harris to a 1-year deal worth $2.5 million. He resigned Boston Scott, the running back, 1-year deal, $1.75 million, $1.1 million guaranteed. He restructured Darius Slay's contract to create almost $12 million in cap space. He cut, then re-signed Fletcher Cox to a 1-year, $14 million deal. Jason Kelce returned on a 1-year, $14 million deal. So all these moves he's made, for the most part, have been in-house. But when are you going to jump off the porch, Howie? When are you going to step off the curb? When are you going to go around the corner? I remember growing up, right? My mom used to always say, boy, you better not leave. You better not leave from in front of this door. And then as I got older, she said, okay, you can leave from in front of the door, but you better not turn that corner. You know what I'm saying? And then as I got older, she allowed me to go around the corner, but she said, you better be back before the streetlights come on. So I earned the ability to stray away from the house. Howie Roseman, you got a 3-year extension. Stray away from the porch. Jump off the curb. Don't be afraid to go around the corner. Make a move. Take a risk. All these organizations are taking risk. No risk it, no biscuit. Shout out to Bruce Arians. No risk it, no biscuit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm paying close attention to Howie Roseman. I don't really know what he's done to earn a 3-year extension. He wouldn't get no money from me until this draft panned out, in my humble opinion. That's how I see it. That's exactly how I see it. Jinx Wolf, what's going on? Shockey, my guy. Delco Green, Jamal Matthews, the people. What's going on with you guys? The Goat Michi. What's going on, you guys? How we feeling? Delco Green says, facts. It all came down to the money. Guess who got it done? Andrew Berry, the former Eagles employee and Harvard grad who got hired as the GM by the Browns last season. You're so right about that, my man. You're so right. No risk it, no biscuit. Don't be afraid to cut that check. The money gonna come back. The Goat Michi says Chandler Jones, J.C. Jackson, the AFC is stacked. You're so right about that. I get why these guys are doing what they're doing in the AFC. You got to compete. The NFC, now I don't know if Howie Roseman is being passive because the NFC is not as loaded as the AFC. But listen, I have no problem with you at this point banking on Jalen Hurts. It is what it is. He's going to be our quarterback in the 2022 season. And I don't want him to get lost. I like Jalen Hurts. I believe Jalen Hurts can get better. The question becomes just how good can he be? How great can he be? Now, he had a fairly decent 2021 campaign, right? The team went 9-8. He went 8-7 at quarterback. He didn't play 2 games, but he had a record above 500, showed flashes of excellence, showed flatness, showed flashes of flatness, and showed flashes of good decision-making, showed flashes of terrible decision-making. He had ups, he had downs. But one thing you couldn't question about Jalen Hurts, you couldn't question his desire to win. You couldn't question his commitment to the game. You couldn't question his work ethic. You couldn't question his commitment to his teammates, his passion, his resilience. You couldn't question the man he is. You couldn't question the professional that he is. You can't question that. He's going to give you everything that you can handle. He did amazing in the run game. This team led the NFL in rushing, the number one rushing offense. I got to give credit where credit is due. But we need, Lord Jesus, we're going to need Jalen Hurts to improve at the quarterback position. We're going to need him to improve as a thrower of the football, right? Like I said, Jalen Hurts gives you everything that you want in your quarterback. He has to sharpen his skill set at the quarterback position. He has to get better at reading defenses, reading single and double coverage, and so on and so forth. He has to get better at pre-snap. He has to get better with ball placement. Because I don't see a problem with his arm strength. The problem is the anticipation and the accuracy, the ball placement. If you throw that ball with enough anticipation, with enough ball placement, the right ball placement at that, you can beat anybody. You think Tom Brady has the strongest arm? No. And I'm not comparing Jalen Hurts to Tom Brady. I'm just talking about Tom Brady's game in a nutshell. Tom Brady doesn't have the strongest arm in the NFL. What separates Tom Brady from the rest is his preparation, his pre-snap ability, and his ball placement. Tom Brady is throwing the spots. Tom Brady is throwing guys open. You feel what I'm saying? So Jalen Hurts needs to up his ante. He needs to take his game to another level in that regard. He needs to learn how to win from the pocket. But you never want to strip him of what he does well, and that's the escapability, the athleticism, the ability to make things happen. You don't want to strip him of that at all. You want him to still be him, but you want him to improve as a quarterback. And I believe he wants to do that. I remember when he got drafted, they asked him, would he consider, transitioning to another position? He said, I'm a quarterback. And I respect the game. I respect him for saying that, knowing thyself. He said, I'm a quarterback, and I respect that. And I'm with that. But Jalen Hurts, if we're going to go to the next level as an organization, as a team, he has to improve at the quarterback position. And The word is Howie Roseman tried to go after wide receivers to get him more weapons, right? Devontae Smith can't be your end-all be-all. Dallas Goedert can't be your end-all be-all. I like Quez Watkins. I like him. But I don't know if he's a number 2 yet. He's shown me number 3 level play. But we don't have enough talent, so he was getting number 2 snaps. But Quez Watkins at best right now is a number 3 wide receiver. Jalen Reagor obviously has not been it, has not panned out. J-Jaw has not panned out. We brought back Greg Ward on a 1-year deal. Can't forget about him. I like Greg Ward. Not the most talented, not the most dynamic, but somehow, some way he knows how to get open. Somehow, some way he knows how to do his job. For the most part, he's not a liability. So I like Greg Ward. But again, he's not a number 2 wide receiver either, a number 3. So, the word is Howie Roseman has targeted guys, but they didn't want to come here. Could it be the money? I don't know. Could it be that they don't want to put their career in the hands of Jalen Hurts? I don't know. Could it be the way we play football? Let's be honest. The Eagles were the number one rushing offense in the NFL. For the most part, we only averaged about 25 pass attempts a game for the most part. A star wide receiver doesn't like that. A star wide receiver likes a quarterback that's going to sling it. They getting 8 to 10 targets a game. Those big time wide receivers that was in the free agent market, they're looking to get paid and they're looking to get targets. I don't know if they would have been able to get that here. You got to feed Devontae Smith. You got to feed Dallas Goedert. And then on top of that, we're a run-first team because of the way we're built. So I don't know if we're a star wide receiver's paradise. That's just my thoughts on that. But like I said, Howie Roseman needs to be more aggressive in free agency. He needs to make a splash outside of Hassan Reddick. Now, again, restructuring Darius Slay's contract gave us about $12 million more in cap space. So I need to know, what is he gearing up for? Is he going to go after Bobby Wagner? Is he going to make a play for Julio Jones or AJ Green or Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger? Is he going to make a play for these defensive guys? I don't know. But he made a lot of space. He needs to make a move. And it's straight like that. Now, so much is going on in the NFL just in general. The Falcons traded Matt Ryan to the Colts. Now, here are the nuances to the deal. Says here the Atlanta Falcons are trading starting quarterback Matt Ryan to the Indianapolis Colts in exchange for a 2022 third-round pick. Now, Matt Ryan, he's 36. He has 2 years remaining on his current deal, and he's due $7.5 million in a roster bonus at 4 p.m. Eastern Time Monday. And you knew this was coming for the Atlanta Falcons for the most part because they were trying to make a play for Deshaun Watson. So that tells you they were already moving off of him. And it's kind of hard to come back from that when your quarterback is very well aware that you're looking towards the future and not towards the present. So Matt Ryan was already on his way out. I think he wore out his welcome in Atlanta. Maybe a year or so too late. But he's with the Indianapolis Colts. And I think that's a great situation to be traded to. As a matter of fact, he's been traded to a better situation than the one he was currently in. You got Jonathan Taylor, who I met at the Maxwell Awards. Oh, my God, I can't wait to talk to you guys about the Maxwell Awards. The Maxwell Awards that took place in Atlantic City at Harrah's Casino and Resort was amazing. I met Jonathan Taylor in person. Such a humble dude, such a stand-up guy, man. The dude is solid. You know what I mean? But Jonathan Taylor, man, had the pleasure of shaking hands with him. Had the pleasure of talking to him for about a good 10, 15 minutes. Just a real stand-up guy, man. Just a real stand-up guy. But, Matt Ryan to the Colts. Very interesting. The AFC just continues to get more and more loaded. More and more. Michi says AFC is like a war zone. No one is safe over there. You're absolutely right. It's an arms race. It's an arms race in the AFC. The AFC is going to be must-see TV this coming season. It's going to be must-see TV. Michi also says, I'm seeing a report that the reason Deshaun Watson didn't waive his no trade clause to Philly is because of Hurts. That's interesting. I kind of heard similar things around the wire. I kind of heard some other things. You know, those guys work out together. So maybe he said to himself, I can't take my homie job. He got a legit chance to take over that city. Why would I do that? Who knows? Do players think like that? I don't know. I don't know. Shockey, he says the NFL needs to move teams to different divisions. I think next year the AFC is too stacked compared to the NFC. It's not fair in the AFC. Good teams are going to be missing playoffs. NFC, anybody making it Lions? I get what you're saying, but let me tell you this though. Thank you for being a part of the show, Shockey. Look, I'm not mad at what's going on in the AFC. I don't think no one needs to move divisions at all. I think I think things are perfect the way they are. You want to know why? Because there was a period in time where the NFC was the better conference. It happens. There's always a changing of the guard. You can't you can't hate the players. You know what I'm saying? You got to hate the game. It is what it is. There was a long span where the NFC was where the heavy hitters were, and the AFC was trying to keep up. Think about it. The AFC got all these young, talented quarterbacks. You want to know why? Because the AFC had teams that sucked and they had high picks. There are teams that suck in both conferences. But if you notice, like the Cincinnati Bengals, they had the number one overall pick because they suck. The Los Angeles Chargers, they had a high pick because they sucked. That's how they got Herbert. The Baltimore Ravens, they drafted Lamar Jackson at the end of the first round. So they were actually a better team that got lucky with a quarterback. Who else? There's, it is. I can't get mad at it. I can't get mad. The bottom line is, other teams have to get better. Period. The NFC has to draft better at quarterback. Period. So I'm not mad at the way it's set up because of the simple fact that there was a moment where the NFC was the conference to play in. It is what it is. It happens all the time. There's always a changing of the guard. Don't be against, don't resist competition. Welcome it. Think about it like this. The NFC, the path got a little better for us. I'll take it. Jalen Hurts has a better chance at being better in this conference. He has a better chance of making the playoffs if he takes his game to another level. The top quarterbacks in the conference for the NFC are Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, Dak Prescott. And then after Dak Prescott, you start to get into that no man's land. You got Kirk Cousins. Honestly, I feel like Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins are similar quarterbacks, so you can give or take them. Who else? You got Kyler Murray. You have Jalen Hurts. You have Jimmy Garoppolo. You have there's a drop off after those first handful of guys, most definitely. After the first three quarterbacks in the NFC, there's a drop off, and then you can give or take either one of those guys. So, in my humble opinion, this is better for the Eagles. That's how I look at it. Let the AFC beat each other up. By the time we get to the playoffs, they'd be so worn out. I ain't tripping about it. All I know is the AFC is must-see TV. It's must-see TV. That's one thing I do know. But Jalen Hurts has a chance to take over. Carson Wentz came back to the NFC East, which is hilarious to me. It's going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out. Shockey says AFC about to win 20 straight Super Bowls. We'll see, man. At the end of the day, you got to lace it up. You got to lace them up and buckle your chin strap. Nothing is guaranteed in this league. Nothing is guaranteed. Delco Green says Andrew Berry is one of 5 African-American GMs in the NFL. He was the youngest GM in NFL history to be hired at age 32. That's a hell of a fun fact. Michi says, now this is the perfect time to win the NFC. When you think about it, The conference is weaker. You're right. This is the perfect time. Now, with the draft capital we have, because obviously we didn't make a move to get Deshaun Watson. Who knows what Howie Roseman is going to do? But right now we have 3 first-round picks: pick 15, pick 16, and pick 19. And I'm curious about what Howie Roseman is going to do with those picks. Now, David Ojabo was on the radar, but unfortunately, David Ojabo tore his Achilles. And I feel so bad for that young man because he was going to be able to write his own ticket. He was a guaranteed first-round pick. And it's sad that had to happen to him the way it did. So get well soon, David Ojabo. But the Philadelphia Eagles now have to change directions a little bit if David Ojabo was the target. Let's think about the NFL draft. And let's think about what the Philadelphia Eagles need. Let's think about it. They need what? Linebacker, right? Help me out, you guys. The Philadelphia Eagles need another linebacker, right? They need corner, right? Let me know, you guys. Right in the live chat. Tell me what y'all think the Eagles need. By the way, make sure you guys hit that like button. I'm going to be giving you guys daily sports talk. Chalk It Up Sports Daily. That's the name of the programming. Chalk It Up Sports Daily. Going to be giving you guys live streams every day, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And if things continue to grow and get better, 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. And then maybe we get to a 2-hour show, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. But make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe if you're new to my content. I'll be so grateful for that. So you guys got, okay, I'm seeing linebacker, cornerback, wide receiver. I'm seeing linebacker, cornerback, wide receiver, okay. Shockey says we need a new owner. Can we draft that? That's funny. Okay, bird's eye view. All right, welcome to the live stream. He says D tackle, DN. Okay, I'm writing that stuff down. D tackle, DN, right? Okay, safety. Okay, you guys, okay. Bird's eye view says O-line as well. We definitely need to bolster that O-line, right? We definitely need O-line. Most definitely. Jamal Matthews says, don't we play the NFC North and AFC South this year? Do you think we're going to have to hear about our schedule being easy again? Listen, man, we can't get mad at what other teams is doing. We can't get mad at the Falcons trading Matt Ryan away. Now, we all know the Falcons might go after a quarterback in the draft, but we can't get mad at what other teams doing. We have to focus on what we got going on. We don't make the schedule. We just got to play it. So don't worry about that. So, okay. All right, so you guys said linebacker, corner, D tackle, DN, safety, and we need to add to the offensive line, right? I'm with that. So let's think about it for a second. Let's think about it, okay? So right now we're only focusing on the first round for the most part. We're only going to focus on the first round because those are the prime picks for us, and it makes you wonder what Howie Roseman is going to do. It makes you wonder a little bit. So let's think about who are some of the top edge rushers right now. Like I said, David Ojabo, he's no longer a target. He tore his Achilles. He's going to be out for the next 6 to 8 months, and that's if he's lucky. So who do you guys think we should target? Now, y'all put y'all positions. Like I said, we got linebacker, corner, defensive tackle, DN, safety, and O-line. Who are some of those guys that you think we should target, right? Now, me, Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis has to be a target. The kid out of Georgia, I met him as well at the Maxwell Awards. He is huge. Like, Jordan Davis is the real deal. I can't wait to tell you guys about the Maxwell Awards. It was one of the most spectacular experiences of my life. The Maxwell Awards is amazing. Met so many dope people. Met Brian Dawkins, Brian Westbrook, Jonathan Taylor, Jordan Davis, Bryce Young, Sean Alexander, Who else? Ron Jaworski. You know what I'm saying? Michael Barkan, Ray Didinger, Paul Palmer, legendary college Hall of Fame, Temple running back. But okay, Jordan Davis has to be a target, right? Okay, I'm seeing Sauce Gardner. I'm seeing Sauce. I'm seeing Booth. Okay. Michi says Wyatt from Georgia. Okay. See, they have options, right? I also like the kid Jermaine Johnson, the second from Florida State. How do you guys feel about him? Regardless, the Eagles need to optimize their picks. This is the most important draft in franchise history, easily. You want to know why? Because we have so much cap flexibility. We have so much draft flexibility. So we have to take advantage of that. Otherwise, we're screwed. Howie didn't make a play for Deshaun Watson. Jalen Hurts is going to be our quarterback most likely going into 2022, which is okay. Right? It's okay. It is what it is. It's all right. But we have to help that young man. Now, Jamal Matthews posed a very interesting question. He says, do we need to draft another wide receiver? I honestly don't want to, because we've wasted too much draft capital on wide receiver as it is. I like Devontae Smith, but everybody prior to that was a bust. Everybody drafted prior to Devontae Smith was a bust, except for Jeremy Maclin. But think about that window in time. We're talking of Jeremy Maclin and Devontae Smith are the two best wide receivers the Eagles have drafted in the past 10 to 15 years. That is insane. That is terrible drafting. So I don't want us to draft another wide receiver. I really want one in free agency, but all the top wide receivers are gone. We need a veteran back there. We can't just keep putting like young guys at the wide receiver position. They need an older guy back there to teach them how to run routes properly, so they can know discipline, so they can really master the position. You're doing guys like Devontae Smith and Quez Watkins a disservice when you don't bring in a veteran. I wouldn't mind going after AJ Green or Julio Jones. Bring that veteran presence. I wouldn't mind. They need that. But I think we are going to get another wide receiver. I just don't think it'll be in the first round. If I'm being completely honest with you guys, I really expect Howie Roseman to go to use two of the picks and then trade one of them. That's my ultimate expectation. Michi says, I think we're going to get Zach Pascal from the Colts. He's a free agent right now. I mean, I know Nick Sirianni is familiar, but Zach Pascal isn't nothing to write home about at all. Nothing in the slightest. And how long has he been in the league? So the Eagles definitely need to really make some heavy moves in free agency, but in the draft. Free agency as well. Like, we really have to think about this for a second. Who's left? Because we got some money to spend. We got draft capital. Who's left? So many guys have been getting signed. So many. Let's look at the guys that got signed from the wide receiver position, because there's barely anyone left. Christian Kirk got signed. Allen Robinson got signed. Russell Gage got signed. Zay Jones, Cedric Wilson, Jakeem Grant, DJ Chark, Byron Pringle, Ty Montgomery, Juju Smith-Schuster, Cam Sims, Rashard Higgins, Brandon Zylstrom, Brandon Powell, like Ray McLeod. Like, it's not that many people left in free agency. You got Julio Jones, Jarvis Landry, Will Fuller, Jamison Crowder, Emmanuel Sanders, AJ Green, T.Y. Hilton, but I don't want T.Y. Hilton. He gets hurt too much. Sammy Watkins, Odell Beckham Jr. Like, there are some names, but a lot of these guys are on the tail ends of their career, like Julio Jones, but I wouldn't mind. You got to think about it. These older guys, especially, these wide receivers want to go to a winning situation. They want to go to a situation where they can get their targets and they can compete for a championship. That's missing from a lot of these guys' resumes, honestly, especially Julio. Julio get a Super Bowl, easily a Hall of Famer. He has a Hall of Fame resume already. But you add that Super Bowl to the equation, Julio Jones is stamped. Hall of Fame talent, without a doubt. But, I'm really curious to see how Howie Roseman approaches this. I'm really curious. Like I said, Eagles need linebacker. They need corner. They need D-line, O-line, safety. They got to make some moves. And I'm really curious to see how that goes. Really curious. So let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. Let's talk about the NBA. Let's talk about the NBA and the Philadelphia 76ers. So last night, the Philadelphia 76ers didn't necessarily do what I expected them to do. They performed poorly, terribly in my opinion. And they had such a terrible offensive output. They lost to the Toronto Raptors 93-88. They came out the gate hot. See, this is what's killing me about the Philadelphia 76ers. This is what's killing me. There was a moment where they were starting games off slow and they were picking it up later. Now they're starting games off great, and they're falling off the damn track. Make it make sense, Doc Rivers. That's a coaching issue, in my opinion. I'm watching that game yesterday, and it seemed like the 76ers these guys really couldn't sustain any level of offense. They couldn't sustain any offense. I'm looking at the box score. James Harden, 17 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. That's unacceptable. Went 5 for 12 from the field, 0 for 4 from the three-point line. Unacceptable. Joel Embiid, only 21 points, 13 boards, 6 for 20. Unacceptable. Tyrese Maxey had a pretty decent game, 19 points, 8 for 14. Matisse Thybulle had a good game, 12 points, 4 for 6 from the field. Tobias Harris, 5 points, unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. This team has a hard time starting games off strong and finishing games strong. I can't remember the last time the Philadelphia 76ers played a complete game of basketball. When was the last time? And teams are starting to play us differently on defense. Teams are starting to hit us with that 3-2 zone. Teams are starting to catch on. And one of my biggest problems, if I'm being honest, it seems like Joel Embiid and James Harden, they play looking for the foul. Why are we looking for the foul? Just go right up. Too often I'm seeing James Harden trying to get fouled. You should be trying to put the ball in the damn hoop. That's what you should be trying to do. And I understand, you guys, it's the regular season. They're still working out the kinks of their chemistry. But there were too many times in that game the Toronto Raptors was giving you the game. They were missing their star player in Fred VanVleet. They were giving you the game. And you still it was almost like both teams was like, no, you had the game. No, you have the game. No. You have the game. You can have the game. It blows my damn mind how this team can be so talented and have such a lack of attention to detail. Like there was the final possession, and James Harden had the ball. He had an opportunity to drive. He had the lane, didn't drive. Even if he drove and took the lane, he could have kicked it back to Tyrese Maxey wide open in the corner. Too often I'm watching the rest of the roster ball watching. When James Harden and Joel Embiid are doing their thing, they're watching. Why isn't anybody cutting? Why isn't anybody trying to make a play? Why isn't anybody trying to be a threat on offense? I understand you got Joel Embiid and James Harden, and that two-man game is dangerous, but Doc Rivers needs to tell these guys to keep moving. That's why the Golden State Warriors are so good. That's why they have been good, because the Golden State Warriors have players that do not stop moving. Their off-ball movement is spectacular. Spectacular. The Philadelphia 76ers off-ball movement is terrible. And then on top of that, let's take it a step further. Let's move the dialogue forward. The Philadelphia 76ers are the worst rebounding team in the NBA. Maybe they're 31st. I'm sorry. I mean, maybe they're 30th or 29th or whatever. But they are the worst rebounding team in the NBA. And it shows not only on paper, it shows on the court. There's no one flying to the boards. Box outs are terrible. I've never seen such a terrible effort. We lack hustle. We lack effort at times. I don't understand it. I do not understand. There's no reason why. Like there were so many loose ball opportunities against the Raptors. Every time we went up for a board, somehow, some way, the other team kept knocking it out of our hands, or they were just getting to the ball first. Every game I watch with the Philadelphia 76ers, the other team is getting to the ball first. It makes no sense to me. So is Doc Rivers the coach for this team? I don't know, because Doc Rivers has things about the way he calls games that's highly questionable to me. How prepared are you getting these guys? I don't know. You can't keep living off of that Boston Celtics 2008-09, whatever year it was, championship. You can't keep living off of it because that roster was loaded. Maybe this is a more talented roster. I don't know. But you can't keep living off that championship that you got in 08-09. You can't. We judging guys off of what they've done lately, and you haven't done jack diddle lately. Come on now. Let's call it what it is. Let's call it what it is. Bo Bruce says Harden is overrated. Man, I like James Harden, but he ain't been giving me what I need. James Harden has been underperforming lately. Now, I don't know if they're coasting because of the playoffs approaching. I don't know. I do not know. But I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like that I don't like the fact that they're allowing teams like the Orlando Magic to hang with them. I don't like the fact that they're blowing games like the one they did against the Denver Nuggets. They had a double-digit lead, blew it. We had a good win against the Mavericks, a good win against the Cavs. But we're blowing these games. Like we're taking days. We're playing down to our competition. That's what it seems like. This team, if we're being honest, this team hasn't been the same since that Brooklyn loss. They haven't been the same. Let's call it what it is, you guys. The Philadelphia 76ers have not been the same since they lost to Brooklyn. What happened in that game? Did the Kyrie Irving, James Harden matchup damage them? Did the emotions of that game, were they so high to the point where you guys kind of lost sight of the vision? I'm telling you, I'm not the only one that sees it. They have not been the same team from a production standpoint. They have not been the same team since that Brooklyn loss. Brooklyn exposed something about them, and Kevin Durant said it. He says that team being the Sixers, they lack a second and third gear. He said the moment we realized that they play without a second and third effort, we knew we had them. The Sixers don't play with a second and third, even fourth effort. There's no hustle. Like I said, too many teams are beating us to the loose ball. Too many teams are beating us to the boards. You cannot win a championship playing that way. In order to win a championship in the NBA, everyone needs to be on the same accord. One band, one sound. You have to hustle to everything. Everything must be food. We're not playing championship caliber basketball. We're not playing like we're the team to beat in the East. The way this team is playing, they can very well get knocked out in the second round again. And Doc Rivers be fired the next day. Because he was brought here to take us to another level. Brett Brown took us to the second round. We was better off keeping him if this was going to be. And I'm tired of people being satisfied with mediocrity. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Bo Bruce says, I wouldn't be surprised if the Sixers got knocked out in the first round. Bro, the way they're playing, I wouldn't be surprised either. Also, you guys, make sure y'all smash that like button. It really helps the content grow. We've been live for about 50 minutes. We got about 10 more minutes left in the show. Make sure you guys smash that like button. I'd be so grateful for that. Delco Green says, the Sixers have no bench. I'm concerned they're going to be eliminated early again. I'm very much concerned. I dropped a poll not too long ago, and I asked you guys, how concerned are you about your Philadelphia 76ers? Some of you guys said extremely concerned. Most of you guys said you're mildly concerned. A little bit of you guys said you're not concerned at all. But the bottom line is most of y'all, if not all of y'all, indicated that you're concerned. We should not be concerned at this point in the season. We should not be questioning this team's hustle. You don't win a championship that way because in the playoffs, the game slows down. Rebounds matter more. We're giving teams so many extra possessions. And that's when we lose. That's why we lose. Because we're allowing teams to beat us to the loose ball. Teams are beating us through sheer effort. It's not a talent issue. Now, yes, our bench is very questionable. Arguably, our most talented player coming off the bench is Niang. And that's not a great thing. I like what Niang is bringing to the table. I love it. But Niang can't be the best bench player. Shake Milton has become a shell of himself. Isaiah Joe is not getting enough minutes. Danny Green is streaky at best and can't play defense anymore. DeAndre Jordan, he's older. You can't expect too much out of him, but for him to just play defense and get boards. Paul Reed doesn't get enough minutes for me. Korkmaz is a liability. Hasn't been shooting well at all. Arguably his worst season in the NBA. Like, we have young guys on this team that want to run, that want to hustle. And we're not giving them minutes. That's another thing I don't like about Doc Rivers too. He doesn't give the young guys any play. Why do we think that is? Huh? Why does Doc Rivers continue to deny these young guys looks? How can you expect to build a bench? How can you expect to build depth? We're not allowing your guys to play. Experiment with your bench. Experiment with your lineups. You got to let these kids play. Otherwise, they're going to go somewhere else and flourish, Doc. It's too late now, though. It's too late in the season. I mean, you're going to make the playoffs, but you got to get these young guys going. Paul Reed and Isaiah Joe, why did you draft him? I love what Paul Reed brings from an athletic standpoint. That kid runs, he hustles to the boards, he jumps out the gym. Isaiah Joe, a sharp shooter. I like what he brings to the table from a shooting perspective. Can be a liability on defense, but allow these guys to play and get minutes. It's ridiculous. Eagle Slayer says the problem is 3 out of our 5 starters can score when Tobias, on the other hand, can't rebound the layup, simply cannot win like that. You're so right. And Tobias Harris can't play defense. You get Tobias Harris out on the perimeter, you could book him. You could cook Tobias Harris on the perimeter. You could cook him. I've seen too many times guys on the Raptors, those young guys on the Orlando Magic, they was cooking Tobias Harris. He's so slow. He's so slow. His lateral movement is non-existent. You get Tobias, you get to Tobias Harris on it's starting to become a point where teams are targeting Tobias Harris on defense because they know he can't play defense. His feet are so damn slow. So damn slow. Let's talk about the playoff picture a little bit because things are getting tight. Like I said, the Heat are the number 1 seed. The Bucks are the number 2 seed. The Sixers are the number 3 seed. The Celtics are the number 4 seed. The Bulls are the 5th seed. Cavaliers are the 6th seed. Raptors are the 7th seed. Nets are the 8th seed. Hornets are the 9th seed. Hawks are the 10th seed. So, the way I see it, the way things are panning out thus far, the Raptors, Nets, Hornets, and Hawks are in the play-in. But the Cavs can very well lose a few games. The Bulls can very well lose a few games, and they can fall into that play-in as well. Seeds, the seeds in the Eastern Conference 5 through 10, any given day. Any given day. The Bulls, Cavs, and Raptors, those 3 teams in particular, they can easily flip-flop. The Raptors can easily end up the 5th seed. Cavs can end up the 7th seed. Bulls be the 6th. Like, there's so many ways this can turn out. But right now, the Raptors, Nets, Hornets, and Hawks are in the play-in. I think that's definitely going to change. I think that's definitely going to change as far as how things land. But if the playoffs started today, the Sixers would play the Cavaliers, and that would be to their benefit. The Sixers would play the Cavaliers. The Sixers have owned the Cavaliers all season. Now, the Cavaliers play us tough, but at the end of the day, we always win. Well, we always beat them. So I don't mind facing the Cavaliers in the first round. I can work with that. But things will start to get more complicated from there. Things will definitely start to get complicated from there. So do not get it twisted. The Sixers got to step their weight up, period. The way we're playing, I don't see us beating the Bucks in the playoffs. I don't see us beating the Celtics. I don't see us beating the Heat. There are 3. Well, I don't see us beating the Nets if we face them. Now, the only thing about that is Kyrie don't play home games. That's the only thing we got on our side. But other than that, the Celtics play tough. Heat play tough. Bucks play tough. The Sixers got to be more physical. They got to hustle to the rock. Like, I don't want this team to take on the identity of James Harden. James Harden should take on the identity of this team. That's to be tough. Hustle to everything. Delco Green says KD didn't have to give them that critique. He could have just stayed quiet, but he's helping them by pointing out their weaknesses. He's right. They have no heart. The Sixers have no heart. No heart. No hustle, no effort. You can't win a championship that way. You really can't. Bo Bruce says Embiid's going to rest. Yeah, Embiid's not playing tonight against the Heat. He could use the rest. And I really want him to win the MVP. He deserves it, in my humble opinion. But you never know, man. You never know. All I know is there's so much going on in the Philadelphia sports scene. The Eagles need to make moves in free agency. Most notably, Howie Roseman needs to take his football aptitude to another level. He needs to be aggressive. Like I said, he's making space for some kind of move. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know what it is. And then the Sixers. Can they really win a championship this year? I don't know. I have my questions. I have my doubts. Because of our effort. If our effort was better, we can beat anybody. But teams are starting to get our number. it's starting to become more complicated to produce quality offense. I'm watching these games, and it seems like every point, every basket is a struggle. Every basket is a struggle. And it also feels like no one truly knows their role quite yet. Tobias Harris still trying to fill out his role. Tyrese Maxey still trying to fill out his role. You know what I'm saying? I'm not crazy in saying that, but I appreciate you guys for being a part of the first official episode of Chalk It Up Sports Daily with your guy, Tone DeShields II. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Like I said to you guys before, I'm going to be giving you guys daily sports talk Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern time for 1 hour, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern time. I know I started at 2 o'clock today, but the goal is to start at 1 p.m. and give you guys a full hour of passionate sports talk. And if things continue to grow with you guys, if you guys continue to demand more from me, if you guys want more time, up into an hour, from just an hour sports talk, we get up into 2 hours sports talk. You know what I'm saying? Because I love chatting with you guys. You guys add to the show, and the channel was nothing without you guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. You guys were tuned into the first official episode of Chalk It Up Sports Daily with your humble host, Tone DeShields II. Where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. One love, stay humble, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay hungry. And we out of here, you guys. Saladin.